and we've had some hitches. We're very sorry, but I really, really believe it's still going to be a great day. We'll get the others to join, and hopefully others will join us as we go on. But we have to start. We can't keep you waiting. And just a brief overview, this is day 2 of the Global Women Leadership Summit. And the Global Women Leadership Summit actually is founded by Global Visionary Women Network, or is hosted. And we've got some incredible partners here, Hope University, Liverpool John Moss University, and all the partners who've helped us to make this conference, a reality. And we've been doing this for the past 10 years. In London as Global Convention, but for 6 years we've been doing the Global Leadership Women Summit. And the goal or the vision of Global Women Network is to unite visionary women like yourselves from all walks of life and nations to educate, empower the ordinary girl, child, and woman into extraordinary citizens and leaders of purpose. It's very important for us to raise, young leaders as we go ahead as leaders. We want to leave that legacy because we understand that everything is transformation starts with leadership. Communities are built, leaders are built by other leaders, and everything also fails because of poor leadership. Our theme for this year is Women in Leadership, Leading and Thriving in Challenging Times. We understand how challenging it is, and it's just going to get more challenging, of course, but that's not to say we should be worried, afraid, or anything like that, because I strongly believe challenge is going to make us better persons. They equip and empower us. So it's really about equipping women leaders ourselves, with all the tools, resources we need so we can be resilient. We can be able to overcome the storms, to ride through the storms or winds, whatever it is. We don't just go by thinking, I'm average, I'm just going by, I'm surviving. We want to use words like conquerors. We are not victims, we are victors. If we don't do that, we cannot pass that baton on to the young people because we are their role models, they are looking up to us. And throughout the summit, you will hear from diverse, incredible leaders, experts in the diverse fields who will give us tools, resources, blueprints, and strategies for us to be able to thrive in challenging times, for us to be able to live effectively as women, but collaborate as well with men, because it's very important. That's why this is very diverse. It's one of the most diverse leadership events you will find, because we strongly believe in the uniqueness of each leader. It doesn't matter your skin color, your race, your background, your gender, which is why we must have men if we are really talking of effectively leading and making global change and impact. We must collaborate and work with the men. So we will actually move straight away. I'm not going to take much of your time because we are already running so late. We'll surely cut off our refreshment break, if you don't mind. We've had a lot of refreshment there before starting, but the teas and coffee are there, so anytime you can grab them. All right? How does that sound if we get that off? Perfect. And I'm Dr. Sylvia Forchap-Nikambi. I'm the founder and global chair of Global Visionary Women Network. I want to thank my incredible team. Sarah, she's out there, the incredible team, and volunteers, some of them are here, for all the hard work that Sarah did to make this a reality. And to the wonderful team from Liverpool John Moss University. Tim Nichols is here. We also have Beverly Camp here. And Liverpool Hope University, of course. They've really been instrumental in having us put this event today. Dr. Craig Marsh is right here with us, and Jo, she's not here, she can be here tonight with us, this afternoon with us. And Dr. Penny Hogg, and some of you saw her yesterday afternoon. They've really been working behind the scene with us to make this possible, and we express our heartfelt gratitude to them. And to you all, without you there will be no event. For each panel, each speaker, each panelist, each speaker, we say we are really grateful. We express our gratitude to you and to the delegates. Thank you so much. We're going to move on straight away into women in leadership. How can we have, I don't want to use the word balance, I often don't use it intentionally, harmony. We know as women, it's so different. Men just sorrow in leadership, even if they have children, because the wives are taking care of the children most of the times. Am I right? The women in leadership position, once you're a mother, there's a lot of responsibilities. I know not most. My dad was an incredible dad. He was really closer to us than even my mom. No, my mom was close, but he was an incredible dad. So I'm just giving generally. My husband would think, let me just quote myself, let me not generalize it. He's helping me when he does work for the kids. He's not helping me. This is our children. This is our family. Most men think they're helping the women. No, I said, it's your child. This is your family. You're not helping me. So it becomes really challenging sometimes for us, isn't it? You're there, you're leading. Some travels will make huge sacrifices because you're thinking, the children are there, the children are still young. You see so many women after pregnancy and childbirth, unfortunately, reduce the amount of time they work. They go part-time because of their responsibilities. The men, whether they have children, their wives are pregnant, they just keep sewing. And that's why we need to be connected with them, so as they sew, they can take us along in with their responsibilities. So I'm going to call on an incredible my panelists, you seem to join me. We want to see how we can live effectively. One thing we shouldn't, leaders don't make excuses. Leaders take responsibilities. You're leading. Even if your followers, those you're working with, they make mistakes, you have the ultimate responsibility, and it's to guide and correct them. I want us to be in this summit and leave this summit with the mindset of responsibility. I often say this when you say, it's not my fault. Children play the great, they blame game, not adults. I find it strange sometimes when, a lot of adults say, oh, it's not my fault, it's not, that's for children. I'm not responsible for this, or I'm responsible. Even if it's not my fault, as a leader of that organization, I'm responsible to clean up any mess. Because if I were there, or if I'd given instruction clearly, my team would have followed. Or maybe if I've guided them to take responsibility that they can lead without me, they will be able to do it in my absence when I'm not there. So we want us to take full responsibilities as women. There are no excuses. It's a gift and a privilege to be a mother, to be a wife, and to be, or a friend. To be a grandmother is a huge privilege, honestly. And I think most of us women, how many of us will see the fulfillment we get from, being parents or mothers is more than what we usually get from our jobs. I know some of the children sometimes can be really naughty. Yeah. So we're going to actually call on the panelists without wasting so much time. We're going to call on the wonderful Abio. So will join me on the panel. We want to see how we can live a harmonious life as leaders that will thrive, regardless of what is going through in our lives. And I'm going to also call on the wonderful Jackie O'Connell. Is Jackie here? She called me this morning. I'm not sure where she was. I've not picked up the phone. Okay. I'm going to get my next panelist. Let me see. We had the panelists printed, but we've moved and they couldn't find it. So I'll just use my laptop. So if any of my wonderful panel chairs do not have the program, we'll have to use my laptop because we printed them out with them as well. Okay, I've got the wonderful Dr. Fomo, Victorine Agun. Can you please join us on the panel? I saw, okay, she's there.
Yeah, okay. You need to switch as well.
Finally, I think it's Jackie, she's not here. We're just gonna go on Queen now. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it and she sends out apologies. We're just gonna go on. I'll take this so we can go on to us. One of the panelists there. Dr. Victorine, do you want to join us, please?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Hello.
I'm just going to go that way so I can see you all and I can see them as well. I'm not necessarily one. Yes, okay, I see them. Thank you. And I'm going to time. We don't have much time, I'm sorry, so we can move to the next. And again, thank you all. Will you just please introduce yourselves briefly?
For those who are not here, because I believe everybody that was here yesterday know who I am. I am Dr. Fomo Victorine, coming all the way from Cameroon, Africa, to be part of this summit, and it's my first time in the UK. It's an opportunity to meet all of these beautiful ladies and handsome men. And striving to do what we do. I am an Olympian in table tennis, and back in my country I'm a multi-dimensional athlete who has won over 50 medals, 60 trophies in over 7 sports disciplines, and I'm here representing the Global Women Emancipation in Sports, where I am the president and one of the founders.
Thank you so much. I'm going to pass on to your wonderful Abby. So it's okay, we're going to leave the panel.
I can.
You're going to have some fun here tonight.
Sorry, Vicky, I have only one hand.
Right, I have to follow that one. So good morning. I actually wasn't here yesterday, So I'm really pleased to be here today. Thank you, Dr. Sylvia, for having me on the panel as well. My name is Abby Osho. I'm the founder of Soul Melanin. I'm a visibility, storytelling and leadership coach. And I'm a BAFTA award-winning retreat curator. So, some of you, or all of you hopefully, will come to my presentation later. But I'll just give you a quick snippet. There is a documentary which was on Channel 5 last year, which is now on Netflix, called White Nanny, Black Child. I won't go into the detail of it, but we won a BAFTA for it this year. So we were really, really pleased. And it is very much about how we hold space for people, how we allow people to tell their personal stories, with an understanding that when you lean in to your story becomes your power. And you have the ability, we all do, irrelevant of what step of the leadership ladder we're on, to turn our pain into our power. And that's very much what the documentary is about. So thank you so much. I know you're going to clap without me even asking.
Thank you so very much. Great. So we are looking at, the challenges, like I said earlier. We do have a lot of challenges as women, in career, in leadership roles, especially when we have children, we have a family, and most of us are also carers for our maybe parents, and all of that. We are naturally nurturers, isn't it? And I think this is not something that we have to look at as a disadvantage or something we have to look at and be complaining, I don't have time. I always say, if we were given everything we need, like the ability to be able to conceive children, nurture and nourish them, is because we've got what it takes. We are able, we are capable. So I think, again, it's a privilege. I'm a mom of 3 children, and I do my best to really have the harmony and get them involved. So I'll be asking them, how do you, as a leader, with the challenges, I know all of you, you're at great leadership roles, you're doing incredible work, and I know you have a family as well. I don't want to ask some of the key challenges. We want to give you strategies because it will be different with so many other people, but they are similar. So how do you really have that harmony? How do you manage to have that equilibrium? What do you do? Those strategies that are repeated over time or are replicable that we can share on with our delegates, and they can apply consistently with the same results. What would you say?
What would I say? I think there are a few things really. I mean, my children are grown now, but I do remember in my early days, before I worked for myself, which was, I've been in business 10 years, but prior to that, when I was in the corporate world, more so, I remember I lived in Croydon, and my head office was in Great Charles Street in Birmingham. And I would make that journey. My children were small. And when you're in it, when you're in the throw of it, you don't even realise the amount of pressure and stress, one, it was putting on me, but two, it was putting on my family. And I think if I could go back to all those years now and ask myself the question, what would I have done that would have supported me more as a leader? I would have asked for more support. One of the biggest things for me, and I think one of the big things for women in leadership, is there's part of us, and this is learned behaviour from what we see many of our mothers doing. It's this part of us that's addicted to the struggle. Like, it's not a struggle, it's not the push, push, push. Then we're not working hard enough. There's another part of us that wants the support, but we're not used to asking for it. So the words in our mind will come out. In our minds we'll be saying, I need more help here, I need more help here. Our partner, our husband, our brother, even our child, are you okay, Mum? Can I do anything for you? No, it's all right, I've got this, I'm okay. Those are the words that come out, like a program. And so we have to learn, if we want to be better leaders, if we want to have more of a balance in our own energy and our own homes, we have to learn to ask for support. So that would be my words of wisdom.
It's so likely that we respond to speakers. So my own point is the fact that women by nature want to multitaskers. It's always important to have a skill of preference in our multitasking activities. Because the moment we don't put a skill of preference on which comes first, we shall just be doing the wrong things, the right things at the wrong time. So it's important that as we become leaders, we should know that we have preferences, and we should dedicate time to plan these activities. Because if we do not plan these activities, it becomes really dangerous for the things that we are doing. And we should equally know that as women, we have a family. We should not just put work and organizations in front of us, because at some point in time, when all this fail, you have to lean back on your family. And it is only the family that is there to support you, to give you the energy, to have the strength to go back. So when people fall, they should have a time to recollect and feedback. It is only your family that can be true to you. Because every other person that's coming there is a colleague, they will try just to get your position. They will try to say, oh, it's good she's not there, because maybe another person that is lighter and happier can always take your position or do the thing. So it's good your family coming on. So while multitasking and doing leadership, find time to join your family.
Thank you.
I'll just welcome Jackie. Come on, or maybe you take the next question, don't worry.
Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, great, thank you.
Thank you for
So,
having me.
Awesome, so I'll just, thanks for that. And you can hear we have ask. Yesterday we had that also coming up a lot. We don't ask a lot as women, we do not ask enough. Asking is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. You know what you are capable of doing, and you know your limitations. You don't have what you need to ask. So many people out there who are ready and willing to help you, but if you don't ask, they don't know. So you need to ask, you need to create that time where your family is important. And one thing I just wanted to place emphasis here, which is what we really want to share and highlight during this summit as well, if we know. In the past, I think now it's changed a lot, because a lot of women leaders now understand the significance of their well-being, the significance of having that harmony. But in the past, we saw like a lot of women who went up there, climbed the career ladders, especially in the corporate world. At the end, they broke down, or they had to sacrifice their families. You have children, they know nothing about you. They became complete strangers to their children. We heard yesterday again, and that's something I profoundly believe, that success is not really about money. It's about a deep inner fulfillment of purpose. The wonderful Rachel said yesterday, Rachel proved for me, is leaving that legacy of my values to my children so they can move on and be more resilient. It's not really about leaving money. You've not built resilient, powerful individuals. So I want us to understand that if we are not there, if we have to break down, then unfortunately we will not be there for our children, for our families, for our loved ones. You cannot actually, you don't have to choose. It's not about choosing a career path or a family. You can have it. We all have it. You can have all of it. Gone are those times when you think, as women leaders, you cannot have a family. Gone are those times. And that's what we want to have a lot of women emulating that. You can be it all, I always say, do not at the same time. Embrace that and don't feel guilty. We'll just go to the next question with Jackie. We are looking at balance. Well-being for women in leadership. We understand how often a lot of things, most women often say yes, a lot of yes as well, am I right? And then they become overwhelmed and break down. What would you say, any key strategy you want to share to really have the harmony between your work life and your family life?
Yeah, thank you. I would say to begin with, I don't think there's a sort of a magic thing, isn't there? I think for a lot of people, it's like this kind of elusive idea of getting the nirvana of work-life balance. So I get that. I'm a coach, so I work a lot with people, and often people are looking for the work-life balance. And I think boundaries is really key. You just mentioned about saying yes. It's really easy to, particularly if you're good at doing a lot of things, or you're high performing, and so you can do stuff. So it's easy to sort of almost take that on, isn't it? Oh, I can, so I will, and I do, and then you become that go-to person. And if you're, say, a leader in business, or the family, or community things, you're often the go-to person that others rely on. But there is something about, you just sort of pointed to it, in terms of putting oneself first from the place of empowerment, and I think it actually helps others often to have really clear boundaries and to sometimes say no. no can be quite difficult, particularly if you're a people pleaser or just used to, you kind of like in a little bit of a way that you can and people can go to you and you're that kind of person. But I think if we don't look after ourselves, then actually we're no good for anyone. So I think, putting oneself first and looking after yourself is an act of love. Not just for yourself, but for everyone around you. And there is a ripple effect. Make no mistake. We know, don't we, if you walk into a room and there's a bit of an atmosphere, or someone might be smiling away in a leadership role, but you feel if they're kind of, subtly, stressed or not really coping, or I can see some nods there. So I think, just kind of take time. We all need time out. We all need space. Our brains are very. By the way, I'm also studying masters in neuroscience and psychology, and doing all sorts of wonderful things over the years. So really interested in human behaviour and how the brain works. I've also in corporate world travelled a lot and worked a lot with teams and people, so I've kind of been in that space. It's really interesting to see people's motivations. So I think it's almost to check in on yourself if you're a little bit sneaky, thinking you kind of want to do it all. But then if you notice you're becoming frazzled, just sort of almost check in with yourself and think, what actually do I need? How can I rest? Can I just stop? Can I say no and do less? And I think that sort of self-discipline, self-awareness, and putting in boundaries is one way to do it.
Thank you. And on the flip side, definitely, because I strongly believe we lead by example. What would you really do in your life? You've got children, or how have you been leading so far to ensure that you actually are not abandoning or leaving your family, that it's not that void? You're having impact outward either in your career, at your work, but unfortunately you're not impacting your children. That may not be you, but so what do you do if you are having that impact? You're present in your family, you're present out there effectively, but as a leader out there at home. So what do you do to actually achieve that?
It's not quite easy, but I come from Africa, and the backbone of every family is the woman, unlike out here that the backbone of the family is the man, but generally in the context of the society, let me land on it. In the context of the society, the man is the head of the family, but now with your democratization and things like that, you have equal work, we share time at home and things like that. But in Africa, the total analysis is that women are second place. And you see here that challenges, you have child support and things like that, which is virtually different for us in Africa, which means the woman takes total responsibility of what the children are going to eat, how they are going to grow. They can have some empowered, genuine husbands that see into that, but generally it is the woman that ensures that the house is set. The man is still sleeping, the woman is already in the kitchen preparing breakfast. Here, by the time you get up, everybody has a microwave, you just do it and you go out. So you see, there are different communities and different cultures. So it makes it a lot different. So when a man comes back here, he gets to the microwave or the food is there, he cooks. But in Africa, how do you do that? How many people have microwaves? So the woman makes sure she has cooked food and kept for the husband who comes and eats, and at times he eats, he goes out with his friends. But then there are some ideal men and ideal family. In my case, it may be different. I got married early, but then the man had to move out, so it's a little different. So we work without him around. He's looking for greener pasture somewhere. So I am with the children at home, so it's a lot easier. But now taking care of those children is not chocolate. You don't just get up and you need to ensure their well-being, you need to ensure their growth, you need to ensure their academics, you need to ensure their success. Then you are an empowered woman, you work in an office, you have an organization. So you virtually do not have time for yourself. But if I have to put it in my field of sports, in my field of activity, I mean sports, we discover that it's difficult for people to actually get the two. Most women live separated. That's the honest truth, because merging top performance in athletics, we discover that it becomes hard for them to live their normal lives because they are striving every day, they are training, and it becomes worse. You get married to somebody that's not your sports field, you just fall in love, it's okay. But now, why should you go out there and be training every day? And sometimes in sports you train mostly with the other gender. Some kind of jealousy gets in. But it's just sports. He would not think it's just sports. He thinks you have an affair. You see, there's stress, and each time when you win, you see the support, the aura that comes around you. It's like he is supposed to be the one getting all the accolades from him there, not you. So he thinks that, but why should it be you? So it's very, very difficult. But then, our women, we need to try to be submissive, to be able to showcase that in as much as we can do this, you remain our husbands, you remain the king of the house. And then we need some of these cool words, Sherry, baby, my love, sweetie, and things like that. They are consoling in their household. And at work, we do our work, which means competence equally has a role to play. Knowing thy environment, knowing the people in which you work with has a role to play. But then women still need these safe places, because the men will always do it. We are striving every day. We since is it 1995 when women went for the Beijing conference? Every day they are fighting for safe places for women, and we will still continue to do that because we did not create ourselves to be this. So we are meeting a community where we are striving every day to work hard to accept the norms, but we should change those norms, not by changing the whole community, by changing 1, 2, 3, and gradually we start overseeing the differences. Today we have artificial intelligence, yesterday it wasn't. Today we have WhatsApp, we have all of this, yesterday it wasn't. We had just one single house phone. When they call, the whole family goes, hello, everybody say hello, 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 hello. But now everybody has a phone. You are not even talking to the person close to you. It's the evolution of times. The moment we try to adapt with such changes, I think we shall make the place a better place for us to be.
Thank you.
Can you repeat the question for me, please?
What do you do practically to actually establish that harmony? I really don't like using the word balance as well in your own home, like with your children, so you don't become overwhelmed, break down.
I think there's a couple of things, and I think the first thing, and you touched on it earlier, is actually being in your own awareness of when you're not connecting with your children. And that could be words like, just give me a minute, I'm too busy. Just give me a minute, I'm too busy. Come back to me in 5, I've got to finish this to work. The signal, the language that we're teaching our children is, Mum's too busy to hear me. Mum's got too much on to listen to what I want to say right now. And when they're young and at that age, they don't understand how to discern. That is what they understand. So they take on those beliefs. They take on that, and that shows up in lots of different ways. I'm not worthy of being heard. I keep small, and then I don't have to face challenges that are put in front of me. And so I think in our own awareness, and I guess I can talk about my own evolution as a leader, I was the person that said that many times to my children, until I remember hearing somebody else saying it and caught myself in that moment. And what I did was I had to change my behaviour, and I had to ensure if I was bringing work home, because work never stops unless you give yourself a boundary to stop it, that if my child, my teenage child at that time, was coming up to me, that I would close the laptop down, even when I wanted to do the work, and I would say, come on, sit, tell me what's going on with you. And at first, and this is a true story, I remember my daughter saying, Mum, you stopping work? Like, no, but this is truth, and I really want you to hear that. She said to me, Mum, are you stopping work? So all of that time that I hadn't, she was not being heard. Her needs were not being met, because I was so focused on the business and on work that I wasn't seeing it. And so I share this as a lesson out loud, a vulnerability lesson out loud, that there is strength in our vulnerability. And when we understand and when we're our own self-awareness, we as women leaders can start to make those changes that we need to, as we want to show up. We're mirrors for our children. Or even if you don't have children yet, and some of us here don't even have families that we're close to. I wasn't raised with my family. I was raised in foster care. A story for my presentation. So I say that from a perspective that not everybody has family, that is blood family. However, there will be people in your world, in your life, that you will call family because you know that you can ask them for support when you need it. And here's the thing, again, a bit like Dr. Sylvia said, I don't really think there is like a work-life balance per se, but what I would say to my children, what I would say to my partner is, at the moment, my workload is in moderation. So I would be working moderately, and then I would give the warning, look, right now I'm in momentum because I've got these projects and I've got these deadlines to go. So if I'm not 100% with you all the time, I'm just letting you know that give me this for this next week. I'm not going to be 100% on balance with how we've been living our lives. And I was given the permission slip for them to understand where I was coming from, but also in my own way setting that boundary, knowing that it wasn't that I was ignoring what was going on, but they could now feel part of what was going on, and also they could support me in what I was doing during those really, really busy times. And so I use the words moderation and momentum because that is the flow of life, because nothing is really on one kill balance.
I love that momentum. I just, my brain just went there. What did you say? Momentum and
Moderation.
Momentum, moderation. Remember that, everyone. I think that's brilliant. Yeah, I don't think I have much to add other than perhaps what sprung to mind was that idea of being really present. And I think as children absorb everything, people, partners, friends, whoever the modern day, appreciate what you're saying about family, and all of us have different definitions of what family is. Some of us create it, some of us are lucky to have huge amounts of family around us, but we all need support. So perhaps one thing is to make sure we're getting the support that we need, whether that's from inside our family, for fortunate, or external with friends and other types of support. Sleep, I think, is important. It's always it's easier said than done for optimism to it, but it's so what just springs to mind, sort of related, but Jeff Bezos talks about decision making, and he says he makes his job as a leader is to make good decisions, and if he gets 8 hours sleep, he's going to make better decisions than 6. It's the quality of the decision making rather than the quantity. I think what you've just demonstrated is brilliant decision and communication, decision making and communication with your children. You know, we live in an imperfect world, don't we? But if we're mindful to think, okay, the people around us, when we're choosing to be present and wholly focused in certain moments, and people feel that, children absorb that. I was very lucky actually in how I grew up with my dad in particular. He was so present, and it's, as an adult, I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm so lucky that I experienced that. I know what that is from a receiving perspective, which enables you to kind of be that at times as well. And perhaps that's it, communicating when you can't be. But just carving out pockets so that there are times at least where, even if it's like, okay, for this 1 hour in this day, I'm going to put everything else aside and be really, really present. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think this is a very and the fact that we should understand our diverse responsibilities. Women, I can't say unfortunately, it's a privilege to be a woman, and we're blessed. We've got those responsibilities. It's not a curse, it's a blessing. Until we look at it, we change our perception about how we see the responsibilities. they're going to handle them differently, or they're going to affect us negatively. If I start thinking, I'm overwhelmed with family, my children, why me, their dad, where our focus go, we saw that yesterday, then all of our attention, our energy, and is training. And we also, one thing, I was just smiling when you said that, about really giving the time, creating the time. We cannot say we don't have time. We all have 24 hours in a day. What we choose to do with the time, our priorities, we define our values. If we are mothers, we say we value our family, our children, we can't create time for them, they are not our priorities. We really don't value them. Our actions speak louder than the words we speak. So I think we should really, and what not me, I'm so close to my children, spend a lot of time with them. Recently, I was really busy the last few days with this summit that I love this thing. Some of you must have seen her. Latoya, Mommy, can I tell you this? Sweetheart, not now. And I realized I hardly don't do that. I've said it like 3 times. I'm like, okay, sweetheart, come. What is it you want to tell me? And what I personally do, I create time. I've got a planner, personal and professional development planner. My professional goals every single day and my personal goals. I create time. Once I pick them from school, 30 minutes I must spend with them. 30 minutes. Usually it had to be 30 with each one of them, but now so many things, and then you tell me. Sometimes it's more, they all love talking except, Karen, not much. Girls talk a lot. And you also talk about being present. Sometimes you're listening, but you're not present. You are not present. And again, destiny, she will literally pull my face. Mommy, you're not looking. She will pull honestly to face her. I'm like, sweetheart, no. Mommy, look. You have to look at me, then I will talk. She literally takes my, and it's important because they can pick it up. Like she said, unfortunately, children who are not outspoken, they'll shy away. And then what we are passing on to them unconsciously is that it's okay when you talk, people don't really need to pay attention. They hear you anyway, anyhow, they could be doing something else. But thank God for those who have actually empowered their children, they understand that, because I tell them, if I'm speaking to you, it's respect. Adults, you look at them. So they expect me to do the same thing. And it shows that you value the person in front of you. They are important. So I think that's what I think it's really incredible. And all of us, like you said, we've surely been one or more times we've done that, but we really hope that we can be fully present. Fully. It's just a minute. And she realized it. We think that they did not even realize the number of times we've said to them, I'm busy. They do. But they are being shown away, and later they think that their voice is not supposed to be heard, they're not intelligent. So we just move on to the next. What I would do, we'll take 10 minutes here, we'll not have the lunch and the refreshment, so we'll go straight at 1 o'clock instead of 12:55. So we'll just take 10 extra minutes, and then we'll move on to the next session. And said something that I just think maybe I should say that as well. Honor to the great men as well. And the African men. I'm from Cameroon originally as well, but I don't think every African man is that way. Yeah, but she did say that she's not generalizing it. Like you said, I'm a daddy's girl. My dad, till now, I wonder if he was really an African. I've never seen an African father like that. It's incredible. My first book was about the father, so it was incredible. Like I said, my mom was there, I'm closer to my dad. All of us, even our friends, he was an incredible dad. He would cook, would be present, we had house help, but he was physically. He took all of us to university. He literally sat with my sister in a lecture hall. My elder sister, the first day of her university, he sat at the back, listening to her. There was a kind of that. So there are still men like that. And we really hope our wonderful men here, I know great leaders here, will really be that support, because if we get the support from them as well, I think it takes a lot off us, and we can be more effective as partners, as wives, and also at our workplaces. Because like I really always say, we don't have 2 lives to live, it's 1 life. It is just life. If my personal life is affected, it's only a matter of time before it goes over to my professional. If my professional is affected, we see a lot of illnesses at home, work-related. Stress is a huge cause of depression, mental health-related issues in women, families. Sometimes the stress from work, they bring it home because you just won. So let's really create the time. Let's ensure every single day we have that personal life, goals, like taking care of yourself, keeping fit, drinking water. Because like you said, sleep. Usually I'll ensure, I tell everyone, I sleep sometimes and I do a lot of things. I never encourage people, yes, sometimes, but it's important. Like last night I said I was gonna sleep at least 7 hours. It's not healthy if we don't sleep well. It's absolutely, it's only a matter of time before we break down. So for the next 7 minutes we have, I just want to ask if any of us, or anyone you've ever supported, anyone, maybe you became so overwhelmed, because we know a lot of female leaders, they get to that stage and maybe they don't want to speak. I work with a lot of leaders, especially in the world of ministry. They are the top. They are great pastor's wife, they don't want to speak. Unfortunately, we keep it within us. Am I right? You think that they will think, I'm not strong enough, but they are breaking or broken within them. What would you say? Have you had a situation like that? What advice, if there was anyone here that's going through that, because you think, as a leader, unfortunately, I don't have to share my pains, my weaknesses, my struggles, I'd rather die within me, because that's killing a lot of women. What would you say to them? If you have had that situation, how do you overcome it? It will be very helpful for someone in the room.
Yeah, I so actually as a coach, I see a lot of people who are men and women, but who are maybe crushing it at work and are brilliant leaders and very successful and achieving a lot. And then, we have a conversation, and even if the conversation starts talking about God or something, when you go a little bit deeper, it's not, and it may be the thing that's talking about it, sometimes you go a little bit deeper, and so many people are, to everyone around them, are just winning at life. And then they come to a space which is a very safe, neutral space. Of course, I'm not judging, I'm not giving them an opinion, I'm not there to fix. I'm holding space for them to talk. And so many people are anxious, are stressed, are sleeping, and it's really helpful to have a thinking space sometimes. And thinking can be talking or not talking, of course. And often, so many people have really busy minds. For my talk, actually, if I'm still sort of talking about that a little bit, the stats are off the charts in terms of all of us. 91% of the UK are saying they're stressed or very stressed. 1 in 5 is going out and taking time off work. 1 in 4 of us have a mental health concern this year, etc., etc., etc. So it's pretty much all of us to some degree. And with people who have very busy minds, which is probably most of us, there's also a way of sort of working beyond that and getting into the body and feeling and experiencing, which can be very hard. And if you're doing it on your own, it's really easy just to avoid. And avoidance can look like workaholism. It can look like, drama, getting a bit caught up in chaos. But that can actually be a distraction from what's really going on. These are kind of strategies and adaptation, just how we as humans operate, almost by design. They're there to protect. But coming back to sort of having a safe space to, whether that's with your family or a partner, or not everyone has that, and often people want to fix us, and it's not always helpful. So having just a very neutral, safe space. Something, I work in that space, is so valuable for a lot of people. So, and sometimes it's talking, like I say, sometimes it's beyond that, because we take things in, sometimes with words, but a lot of time, we've learned things when we were children. It wasn't a thinking process, and it wasn't words. It was a felt experience. And then when it's that, and if we've had some hard experience, which most of us have, it sort of gets embodied in our system and actually in our nervous system. So then our nervous system is very acutely aware when things around us feel unsafe. So it's coming back to that. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
I really, I echo many of the words that you've just shared, and I think again as a visible visibility and leadership coach, embodied with storytelling. Whilst I work with many women who are doing extremely well in career or in business, particularly entrepreneurs, there's still a lot of stories that they're telling themselves that they're not good enough, they're not worthy enough. They are still hiding behind a mask because the mask is protecting them, because there's a story they're telling themselves that in their minds, if people knew the real them, they'd know they were a fraud and weren't good enough to be doing the work they were doing. Who am I to be showing up doing this? And these are some of the stories that come out only when we start to do the deeper work. And here's the thing about those stories. Those stories, a little bit like you were saying, those stories probably were created in childhood, 6, 7, 8 years old. They can't see how it's playing out in their life. But what happens is, the 6, 7, 8-year-old, Abby, let's say, who was feeling unworthy and not good enough because somebody bullied her in the playground, for instance. That 6, 7-year-old Abby hasn't healed those wounds, so therefore, in the 45-year-old's life in business, whilst that wound hasn't been healed, I show up as a leader as my 7-year-old self, because that wound hasn't been healed. And so, what happens is, the visibility piece can take on, I don't want to be seen by anybody, because if I'm seen, people are gonna see my flaws. And here's the thing, we all have flaws and we all have greatness. And when we can actually accept all of us, and that can take time, when we are 100% authentic with who we are being, people feel that. And so when I shared with you today about my daughter, I could have thought, you know what, that's a bit of a vulnerable share. I don't want people to see me in that light. But that's what helps us. When we hear about each other's vulnerabilities, when we hear about, I'm not cracking it right now, I'm not doing as well as I want to, even though the world outside thinks I am, inside I'm crumbling. And so when we can admit that, when we can have those conversations, that is when we can start to release ourselves from those old building blocks and beliefs that are no longer helpful to us, because it was never a real story anywhere. So I think the more visible we can come to ourselves, I feel like I'm doing my talk now, you know, the more we can connect in with who we are becoming, the more full of ourselves we become, the better leaders we become. And we do that in a space that feels really connected to us, and at a pace that we still feel safe and supported, no matter how long it might take us to get there, because we always have a choice that we can make. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's so hard for some women to talk out their challenges. This is for the reason that they feel shy, and they don't want people to know the trauma that they have gone through, or the challenges they have gone in life. Sometimes they feel it is their story, and at times they feel, talking to AB, is he going to keep my secret, How confident is the person to whom they are talking to? Sometimes they have family challenges, sometimes they have work challenges. We all read books, they say when you share a problem with a colleague in the office, it just takes you to the next boss, and the next day you are fired. So how then do you take your work challenge to someone out of your office and share that the person cannot actually explain something to you? You need somebody in the office, but how confident can the person be of help to you? You go to the family, you have a family that people think you are very happy. There's no broken eggs in your cupboard. But then when you go out there, how then do you tell them, in my cupboard we have broken eggs? It is so challenging. So how then do you confide? Sometimes we say, okay, the best bet is to go to the church. We go to the church. Sometimes the pastors use our stories again in the crowd, with anonymity, without giving out names. But once you hear that, and then he comes out with some positive solutions, you go back, you feel happy because somebody has spoken to you. But then we should be able to be to be strong enough, because we all know a problem half spoken is half shared. Can we clap for that? If no people do not speak out, we can have a solution. We should be strong enough to speak out. All of these great men and women out there have had challenges, starting from when they were growing up. Most of them say behind every great man there's a great crime. Yes, behind every great mind there's a great crime. But that great crime is always hidden. We always see the bright side of it. So why don't you say behind every great woman that you are, you have a great crime? But now fight it out and show the world, because it's the bad and the good that makes you a better person. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, in a forum like this, we should be able to know who to share. Some people we exchange with network, we speak out to people. And so we get those experiences from them, and then we know how to put out. It may not be just getting to your workplace, but now sharing up in with unknown people. You know they will never tell your story to A, B, or C. They can be narrating, but then you must be able to speak up. If you don't speak up, you will not get any solution, and you cannot overcome. Today, Dr. Sylvia is talking about her great family. How many great people can speak about their family? She may be one of the very few fortunate ones that have had all the stories. But every other person, you see, oh, my dad, my mom, my children, how many successful children we have. We are afraid to say that our children are this, our that, because sometimes we failed to be present in their lives. If we're there, but God did not make everybody to be upright. It is us that have to strive, because God made us best. Let us overcome and meet up. And as we meet up, Dr. Sylvia, dear ladies and gentlemen and panelists, it will be important for all of us to share our story, even as sharing experiences. Because when people hear your bad side, not just paint everything. When you hear their stories, you say, oh, it's like mine. I can speak up. Try to give a microphone to somebody and see how many people will speak. They will tell you.
Thank you so much. I think honestly, we all have challenges. We continue to have challenges. You're not alone. Do not stay or keep those things within you, but you need to find the right person. For some of you, if you don't have the family member, the people around you, you may be seeing a professional. Because the truth is, if we don't heal from what has cursed us, harm in the past, hurt us in the past, we'll continue to bleed. We'll bleed on those who did not hurt us, because we will pour out from ourselves what is within us. You cannot give what you don't have, and we need authentic leaders. Visionaries, transformational leaders are authentic. It's not showing someone the way and not being that way. And all of them have mentioned. So one thing I want us to take out of here, self-awareness. You need to become that aware. And to remind you, whatever you go through, the challenges in life, they are not there to break you. That is to be used. You shouldn't be ashamed. Imagine, no matter how inspirational I could be or life transformational, if I've got someone who's been addicted, I'm working with that person. I've never been addicted. And I get another lady, maybe she's been addicted, gone through and overcome. That addicted woman, in her sees hope. In her sees the light, not in me. And whenever I teach, of course, I don't want to be addicted to come and teach people. I will use the stories of those who've been addicted. I will show you the stories of those who've had mental health problems, but they triumphed. Because you relate to them. You've gone through those battles, those dark valleys, to be hope and light to other women. Once you have healed, you share confidently. I will consistently share the challenges I had in my marriage, because I know it's to help other women. Even my husband is there, I will share. We are all responsible, it's not him. It takes two to tango. And I will share, I learned, I had to learn. So no transformation comes without awareness. True transformation starts with inner awareness. Let's leave here today. If you have a question, please. One question, and then we're going to move on to the next session, please. Then let's just leave here being aware. Thank you.
I don't know if it's a question or a slight statement or something. I just want to get my chest. been said today, we as women might be able to balance our time effectively. We might be able to give our children the most time that we need. We might be able to heal a 7-year-old Abby. We might have healed her a long time ago. We might be the best leaders. We might, effective our time, manage our time effectively. However, sometimes it's the people outside, the men maybe sometimes outside, who are making us feel incomplete. So, for example, if we've got a really good leader, I really admired her. We had Jacinda Ardern. She was in her mid-30s. She was Prime Minister of New Zealand. Now, if she shows emotion or whatever, oh God, it might be her time of the month. Oh God, she's hormonal. Oh God, she's got baby brain. We don't get that kind of thing for Donald Trump. He's got a baby brain, or maybe he's hormonal or whatever. But it's easy to target them. We might have dealt with every single thing in our life and become the best leader, but it's what other people outside are still making us feel. Somebody hasn't got a child, she's the cat lady. It's easy. She might be the best leader. She might be the best leader who's going to become the new president of America, but she's a cat lady. She hasn't got any children. Same thing happened. It's not just men all the time. When in 2016, when Theresa May was becoming, she was out the last two to take over the leadership of the Conservative Party, we had a fellow woman, was it Andrea Leadsom or somebody?
Yeah.
Who said, oh well, I stand better than her because I've got children. She can't understand this, she hasn't got children. It's people outside. I might be the best leader ever. I might be able to run the whole world. You know what? I've got 3 daughters. I get told she's incomplete because she hasn't got a son. We could be the best leaders, but there's always people out there that are making us believe we didn't. So everything, we've all talked about this morning of things coming from within us, giving time to our children, work-life balance, healing our inside self. We've done all that. But the society isn't letting us be the best leader that we can be, because we are the best leader, but they're still finding holes, poking holes in us, making us not believe in ourselves. And you know what, the really thing I want to say is how society is making us change ourselves. We think we have to go out and, be like, who were them 2 Home Secretaries that we've just had recently? The Rwanda ones.
Yeah.
But anyway, we think we have to change ourselves and forget everything about us, be more, hard or stern, and then we'll become better leaders. But we have to, I think, leave ourselves how we are.
Thank you for that. I just have a duty. I think if I don't do this, it will not be right of me. The work I do and everything as well. Thank you so much for that contribution. I just want to use what is not defined by anyone. Women, you need to know who you are. What anybody thinks about me is irrelevant. It's their opinion. I'm happy to take suggestions. I want to be better. I know there's room for improvement. I'll give you a simple example. I love to be visual. The eyes are the eyes, the only part of the body that have the ability to see. It doesn't matter what the nose, Mr. A.B. thinks about the eyes. Women, we have a problem when we don't know who we truly are and we don't know our purpose. Asia, Europe, America, the purpose of the eyes are to see. It doesn't matter what someone thinks. You cannot be moved by someone's ignorance. My people perish for lack of knowledge. If you don't have knowledge about me, I'm happy to teach you. You've never met me. Maybe I find myself amongst 10 noses and they think I'm strange. Let me tell you, I understand. You've never seen an eye before. I don't do breathing. I do sight, seeing. We need to. That's authentic leadership. I cannot change when we don't know who we are. I know who I am. When I love, I submit, I do whatever. It's because I want to do it. It doesn't change me. When you don't know who you are, a lot of women, I hear them say, I can't sell my programs, I can't give for free. It devalues it. No, I'm called to serve. If an oranges eat me, the more you, if I don't serve you, the oranges fall, they will rot. It's to serve. When you know your word, nobody, their opinion, you move high, you correct them, you ignore. Women leaders, again here, let's not do the blame game. I don't want us to live here blaming or feel we are inadequate. And I know we often say this, I want us to take responsibility. Yes, we've got those emotions. I cannot make a correct, objective decision if I'm emotional. I've got to be able to harness my emotions. When I'm on menstrual, whatever, they give you a signal, put them in check. There's something called self-control. I don't need to make an excuse. Because I'm on my menstrual period, I'll be screaming at everyone. Emotional intelligence. During this period, this is how I respond to people. So maybe I'll just stay away, put ourselves in check. We don't control our emotions, they'll control us. The emotional brain is a primitive brain. We need to be objective. We need to be conscious. First of all, self-aware, self-conscious. No one defines you. I believe in God, the Creator. He defined you. Everything is created for a purpose. And that's final. What He says about me is what stands. And this, let me just share this. And it's also recorded, I share often, I'm sorry. My husband, there was a time when, in that, I'm quite, if you see me, outspoken days, so you can't really, but, so maybe I don't know if it was whatever, he says it as well, when we have a power couple program. He wanted to demean me. Who do you think you are? I remember one day, I just stood there and smiled. That time he said, oh, what? Who do you think you are? I just turned. I'm the daughter of the Most High God. Beautiful and wonderfully made. Incredible. Even in my weaknesses, I'm awesome. And I walked away. He didn't say a word. In your imperfection, you're awesome. We are imperfectly perfect for a purpose. So we remain humble. I might be great in one area. I don't need to be proud because it's an area where I'm the least. I need you. It's for humility. So I pray we just leave here today. Many apologies, I've taken a lot of your time. We're going to move to the next session and we're going to have our workshops. Thank you all so very much. And then we have a question later. Let's move to that spirit. Thank you. We're going to have our workshops now. One workshop is in here and it's actually on Jackie. Yes. It's a workshop now. And we have Andrea. We can stay in here. Andrea? Okay, perfect. We just gonna, I don't even know where the room is now. Did they tell you, Andrea? Can we just have like half of the room, please? Just come with me, please. Not to say anything, but I think it's because I know exactly what to do when we know, we say when people perish for lack of knowledge. Don't worry, sweetheart, don't do it again.